My name's Seth Freedman, and I've been in the news lately because I was outed as having been one of the spies working on Harvey Weinstein's behalf. Black Cube are effectively a private intelligence agency, and anything that their clients want is available and carried out by people who've usually been trained in Israeli intelligence, in Mossad and other intelligence agencies. I was told they've taken on a new case. It's in Hollywood. Normally you wouldn't know who the client is, but in this case it was clear that that's Harvey Weinstein. I was told there's a plot against him and that various people are involved in trying to smear him and put out all kinds of negative publicity, whether in the press or in the industry and so on. And the first list that I saw of targets or potential people who were carrying out this campaign was, from memory, like 5 men and 1 woman. The list of people that Harvey wanted us to go after grew bigger. It culminated in 91 names, you know, actors and actresses who'd worked for him in the past and like who didn't seem like they would be involved in a current plot against him. But again, you're just doing your job. I'm not asking, are they relevant? I'm just told that's who you're going after today. The list was updated by Harvey and it had Rose McGowan's name on, the actress. Through her agent, I called up and said my normal thing. My name's Seth Freedman. I used to write for The Guardian. I'm doing a big broad strokes piece about life in Hollywood now compared to how it was 20 years ago.
So we're doing a bigger piece on Hollywood and what life is like for anyone in 2016-17. And obviously my researcher gives me your details and says...
So do you have specific questions? Or?
Literally, we're just talking about her entire career. At no point do I mention Weinstein because that's not what I'm there to do. I don't even know what the allegations are necessarily at this point. And she brought it up. She said I was attacked by this director. She said I'm going to tell her all of this in my book.
But my book is going to address a lot of these things.
No, but if someone was to say, you know, you hadn't gone to the police or you hadn't proved it, like how can you get the publisher to publish it? There's a cult.
Well, that's because I actually have a signed document from the time of the attack.
Right.
It was settled for a very small settlement. It was settled. So that's an admission of guilt.
So what would make you kind of call it quits?
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
I asked her things like, you know, what did you do? Did you go to the police? Did you sign a non-disclosure agreement and so on? And then it moves on, like, because this is a huge, huge interview in theory. And we must have spoken about him for a minute, 2 minutes max. Obviously, I give that recording to Black Cube. It's shared with Harvey Weinstein and his legal team, and they can see, okay, that might be what she's planning to do with her. But now, again, I don't care if people want to sit and sermonise and say, oh, that's so awful, she was a survivor, and so on and so forth. None of this is attested in court, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm totally neutral about the whole thing. This is not a case of Harvey Weinstein calls Black Cube, says, such and such number of people are accusing me of sexual assault, can you help me? That just didn't happen. There's this strap line that's constantly trotted out in the press. The Black Cube were hired to intimidate, harass and silence his victims. No intimidation, no silencing, no harassing, all of those things would be illegal, and none of those things happened. You can't see any evidence of this happening, but it's the go-to phrase to paint it as like this, you know, he's effectively having an army of spies behind him to shut everyone down. Most of the silencing, if there ever was silencing, was done many years ago and long before Black Cube were involved. People who'd made allegations against Weinstein for some reason didn't go to the police, for some reason were advised to sign NDAs.
Do you feel guilty about making that call to Rose McGowan?
I don't feel guilty about anything I did for Black Cube. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you're an actress who works in Hollywood and a reporter calls you and you decide to talk to them, that's pretty run-of-the-mill. I think the problem with how toxic this debate is over the Weinstein case is that if you say anything that sounds like you're dissenting from the Me Too narrative, therefore you're on his side and you support him. I don't know the guy. I couldn't really care less one way or the other what happens to him. I remember vividly when it was my bar mitzvah, someone bought me a pair of binoculars, which actually, looking back, led to where I am now sitting in front of you. Because basically, all it is just another method to like look over someone's shoulder or to like read someone's diary or whatever it is, just to get information, not for any nefarious purpose. You don't do anything with it. It's just a fascinating way to delve into other people's lives. And I don't think I'm any different from anyone else in that sense.
You don't look like a spy.
What does a spy look like? I think I look very much like a spy. There's too much hype around what it means to be a spy. There's, you know, people just got so many preconceptions that it's like you must be like a psychopath or cold or like no emotions or this or that or like an evil person. If you actually saw what it takes, you actually show huge amounts of empathy to people. Like when you get close to someone, you can't be cold and detached. Obviously, it's not nice underneath it because you know that the whole thing is a facade. If someone appears out of nowhere, they are not to be just talked to on the spot, and too many people do it.
Do you still work for Black Cube?
I don't work for Black Cube. I do some small pieces of work on a kind of case-by-case basis. If people come to me and say, who do you know or who could help me on similar things, but I don't work for Black Cube.
How do we know you're telling the truth?
You've got no idea if I'm telling the truth. My job is to get a piece of information that isn't freely available. And as long as I stay within the letter of the law, I'm not worried about your ethics when you judge me. I don't need to sit and stare down the camera and say, I'm so guilty, I'm so sorry. Because I'm not.